October's greetings. I'm your host, Dr. Wolfula, and when I'm not crashing through my neighbor's door on Halloween saying trick or treat, motherfucker, I'm here at the Wolfula reviewing movies. Boy, do I have a trick of a treat for you folks in this video. I'm covering the 8th Halloween film, Halloween Resurrection, released in 2002. These were the end times where, after Scream's great success reinvigorating the horror movie genre, there seemed to be an optimism that horror was going to get better, only for it to pretty much implode with a series of mediocre remakes and reboots that we're still recovering from. Before these remakes, you were seeing some really gimmicky sequels like Jason X, the Friday the 13th movie where Jason goes to space, or Freddy vs. Jason, the Nightmare on Elm Street movie where Freddy fights Jason. Absurd. Enter Halloween Resurrection, the last Halloween film pre-remake. There was nowhere to go with this movie after Halloween H2O pretty clearly killed off Michael Myers. I mean, you don't grow a head back after getting decapitated, and the anthology series ship had long since sailed after Halloween 3.
Stop it! Stop it!
So what was series producer Mustafa Akkad left to do? Make a movie anyway, fuck it! 4 years passed after Halloween H2O, Scream 3 had released and been poorly received, so there wasn't a ton of enthusiasm to see Michael Myers stretch belief coming back to life yet again. At least not right away. Jamie Lee Curtis didn't want to come back either. She told the story she wanted to tell in H2O and got to kill Michael Myers, but guess what? She signed a contract to do a sequel to H2O just for them to put her face on the poster, so she was legally obligated to return anyway. The movies Jamie Lee Curtis did after this were Freaky Friday and Christmas with the Cranks anyway. I think she had time to do Halloween Resurrection. So, you know, Halloween Resurrection wasn't exactly being made under the best pretenses. There didn't seem to be any enthusiasm about making this film, but hey, Rick Rosenthal returned as director. You remember that guy, right? The guy who directed Halloween 2, everyone's favorite sequel for some reason, whose only trick was trying to emulate John Carpenter's style, only to have John Carpenter reshoot a ton of the movie anyway. I'm sure Rick Rosenthal can make a Halloween 8 work, the man who, in the years since, directed The Birds 2, Land's End, a very necessary sequel to Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. Rick Rosenthal knows what he's doing and can deliver a fine Halloween film without John Carpenter micromanaging the whole production. Even better, early titles for Halloween Resurrection included Halloween Homecoming, Halloween H2K, and HalloweenMichaelMyers.com. Oh god, how I wish this movie was titled HalloweenMichaelMyers.com. Enough of the background info though. Does Halloween Resurrection successfully resurrect the Halloween franchise? Of course not! Why are you even asking, you fucking idiot? Here's my review. Halloween Resurrection begins with a 15-minute character assassination of Laurie Strode. The prologue reveals that Laurie has been spending years locked away in a mental institution, a fate her dead brother Michael knew so well. Oh wait, did I say Michael is dead? He actually isn't. Funny story there. The reason Laurie has been locked up is because she didn't actually kill Michael at the end of Halloween H2O. You know, that climactic ending that felt like a satisfying conclusion to the series? No, it has been immediately nullified. You see, Michael switched places with a doughy, mustachioed paramedic, crushing the man's voice box in the process, rendering him silent while Michael slunk away dressed as a knife-wielding, burned-up paramedic walking into the woods. A common sight.
Oh my god, she killed the wrong person.
So it turns out that Laurie actually killed a paramedic that night, who, on top of that, was also a father of 3, which drove Laurie insane. Excellent! So not only is Michael alive through extremely contrived writing, even by horror sequel standards, but also in the process, an iconic horror movie heroine has been completely ruined.
No, she does is stare out that window. God knows what she sees out there.
This explanation makes no sense, though, if you actually watched Halloween H2O, because the quote-unquote paramedic that Laurie goes to town on has the same body language as Michael Myers, and never bothers to take off the mask to clear up his identity to the crazy bitch trying to kill him. He seems to be nearly invincible, for God's sake. He had a van crash into his spine and remained conscious after that. But keep in mind, though, that this tenuous explanation for Michael's survival in Halloween Resurrection was planned by Kevin Williamson while writing Halloween H2O. The shots of Michael fleeing the crime scene were shot a day after production on H2O officially ended, so they knew while they were making the 7th Halloween movie that the 8th one was gonna piss all over all the work they were doing. All in all, this is a fantastic way to start Halloween Resurrection, but it gets better. It turns out Laurie's been anticipating this night, with her brother waiting for her outside. Aw, he's wearing his pajamas. I think they're gonna have a slumber party. Michael's gonna have to get past this crack duo of doughy, middle-aged security guards if he hopes to take on his sister, though. Men who struggle to keep in line, a harmless patient who's just really obsessed with serial killers.
John Wayne Gacy. Born in Chicago, Illinois, on March 17, 1942.
You know, today instead of locking this guy up, they'd give him a true crime podcast. Michael's got his work cut out for him beating the security at Grace Anderson Sanitarium. It's no Smith's Grove. The men here are professionals. Okay, Michael hit a guard's head in a washing machine, but how does that dude's buddy not notice the decapitated corpse in the same room? The guy might have seen the decapitated corpse, but really needed to check his load of laundry to make sure it wasn't ruined by a severed head, only to be disappointed. But luckily, Michael puts the guy out of his misery. Anyway, Michael headbutts his way into Laurie's room. You killed the security guards who had the keys to the door, Michael. You're using your head in the wrong way. Michael must have got a concussion from opening that door. He seems to think that Raggedy Ann is his sister Laurie, though that doll would make a hell of a spokesperson for yogurt that helps you shit. Oh, come on, Laurie. Michael's already suffered one head injury tonight. That's not gonna help. Laurie lures her brother up to the roof, and, as if this is a Wile E. Coyote cartoon, Michael places his foot directly in the middle of a tied rope that proceeds to hoist him upside down, and in character for Michael, he flails his arms helplessly, dropping his knife. You know, it does your horror villain no favors to have him beaten this easily, this early on in the film, putting him in such a pathetic position, and Laurie may have been successful, but seeing him looking all pathetic convinces Laurie he might just be some other helpless loser wearing Michael's mask. Yeah, that makes total sense for Michael to have switched places with somebody again, who then proceeded to chase Laurie up to the roof after crashing their head through a door.
I just have to be sure.
Yeah, it makes sense for Laurie to have this moment of weakness, and yeah, she pays for it with her life. Ew, gross. That's your brother. Oh, you deserve to die, bitch. That's worse than the incest in Halloween 6. Well, that was a pretty short movie, but hey, at least it's over. Oh no, it's not over, is it? Oh, it definitely isn't over. They don't usually have more scenes when a movie is over. It's still going.
No, he's back.
So, Halloween Resurrection is kind of a fresh start for the franchise. Once Laurie is unceremoniously killed off in that tacked-on 15-minute prologue, the film tells a completely unrelated story that is, to date, the only Michael Myers movie to not include Laurie Strode or any family members of his in its main plot. He probably also killed that little fuck of a nephew, John, so Michael is completely free to stalk and kill whoever he wants. He is now fully the boogeyman, with no earthly reminders of his humanity. He's a living legend. This is an interesting opportunity, so of course Halloween Resurrection completely wastes it on a stupid, distracting gimmick. Let's talk about the main characters first, though. What there is to talk about. Sarah Moyer is the protagonist, a college student in a psychology class being taught by the director of this movie.
Face up to the figure he called what?
The shadow.
Shadow. Yes, Sarah, very good.
Wow, Rick Rosenthal must have excellent hearing. She barely fucking said the answer.
I'm glad somebody was awake. Wow, what a class.
Why do classes in movies always end in the middle of the lecture? Why is this bitch riding a moped in the middle of the school's walkway? That's dangerous! Anyway, Sarah is best friends with Jen here, played by Katie Sackhoff, hyped up on pixie sticks.
What'd you sign us up for this time?
Did she just cum in her pants? So basically, Sarah, Jen, and their friend, that guy from Save the Last Dance, have been chosen to be subjects of an internet reality show titled Dangertainment.com.
We're gonna be bigger than the Osbournes. We're gonna be large.
Oh, that reference has aged really well. Please tell me there'll be Austin Powers references too. Before I talk more about the reality show, though, I need to mention an extremely pointless subplot involving Sarah. Sarah has an online friend named Deckard, who in reality is a high school student named Miles.
Kinda like we're dating. She's never even seen you.
I think this might be the first ever depiction on film of an internet simp.
Knights used to spend their entire lives courting ladies that they would never even touch.
Anyway, Sarah communicates with Deckard throughout the film.
He probably collects human skin.
Even when he and his friend go to a Halloween party dressed as white Samuel L. Jackson and a somehow even whiter John Travolta, Deckard still retreats to the house's sophisticated for 2002 computer room to watch Sarah's web show. Wow, a widescreen monitor back then, damn! Gradually, everybody at the party flocks to watch the show with Deckard, even that guy who played the Jason Mewes knockoff in Freddy vs. Jason.
Is this that Michael Myers thing?
Yeah.
Alright, cool.
Here's a little trivia. The guy in the leisure suit is already watching the show with them earlier, but then he comes in later as if he wasn't already watching it with them. This film has amazing continuity. I know what you're also asking yourself. Yes, Deckard is a replicant in both this movie and Blade Runner.
Now what are you doing?
Why is this kid so mad at him using his own computer? So back to the actual important shit. Well, important by this movie's standards. Sarah arrives to the Dangertainment studio for an interview session where we meet the 3 other participants in the show, along with the man in charge of it all, Freddie Harris, CEO of Dangertainment, played by Busta Rhymes himself.
You 6 will enter the birthplace of evil in its purest form.
People get this movie all wrong. This is not the Michael Myers movie with Busta Rhymes in it. This is the Busta Rhymes movie with Michael Myers in it. People have hated this movie for having Busta Rhymes star in it, pointed to him singularly as where the movie goes wrong, but the film just has a terrible, fundamentally flawed script that relies on gimmickry. That's not Busta Rhymes' fault. He's not the one who hammered out this screenplay in an afternoon. He was cast to play this ostentatious online reality show hype man, and he is perfect as this character and elevates the material by putting himself into his performance.
You're going to enter a mystery wrapped up inside of a riddle, inside of an enigma.
He truly is the only joyful aspect of Halloween Resurrection.
What do you mean you don't want to be famous? That's the American dream.
He seems like he's having a good time, and he's entertaining in the few scenes he actually gets.
That's what I'm looking for.
Busta Rhymes did the job he was hired to do in this movie, and he did it well. The screenwriters, the producers, the director, the rest of the cast, all of that other stuff is where Halloween Resurrection failed.
Why don't you just pat yourself on the back?
So anyway, Freddy's new reality show for Halloween will take place in the fabled Myers house, where 6 college students will be locked up for a night, which seems like a really bad idea, since in this timeline, everyone knows for sure that Michael Myers is still alive and on the loose. He killed 3 people a year ago at that insane asylum. He was recorded on video doing it. It just seems like an ultra stupid idea to do anything at that house the next year. It seems like it'd be in bad taste too. I just don't get it, but the questionable ethics behind all of this just aren't addressed in this film. That'd actually be interesting. In fact, the Dangertainment side of the film is really underdeveloped. How popular is this show? Who is watching it besides the small group at a local Halloween party? How big of a deal can it all be when the staff seems to only be comprised of 1 camera technician and Tyra Banks, who is in this movie for some reason? Why is Tyra Banks in this movie? I honestly don't know. She doesn't do anything in the film. She doesn't interact with any of the other characters. She's just there. She's in the center of the poster, but she doesn't do anything.
Bet you learned that shooting all those weddings and bar mitzvahs.
Anytime I watch this movie, I forget Tyra Banks is in it. Even when I'm in the middle of it. I'll get to another scene with Tyra Banks and I'll say, wait, Tyra Banks is in this film? Why is she in this movie?
I think this is going really well.
Really, baby?
We are doing our thing.
Sarah has second thoughts of being involved in the reality show, spending the night at a serial killer's house, and it's not just because she doesn't want to be brutally murdered. It's also because she's a bland, boring character. Wow, that bitch really needs to get her eyes fixed. Anywho, the first actual murder in the real movie is Charlie the cameraman.
I went to Long Beach State. Same as Spielberg.
His murder is a rip-off of the tripod kill from Peeping Tom. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say rip-off? I mean homage. It's the same thing, but homage is a prettier-sounding word. Honestly, this guy deserves to die for sharpening his tripod's legs and being completely silent during his impending death. Though maybe this guy's one dream as a filmmaker was to be part of a snuff film. Hey, it came true.
Look at you, Charlie. It's a nice angle, boy.
Wait, Tyra Banks is in this film? Later, the squad arrives at the Myers house to begin the show. Along with Sarah, Jen, and Rudy, there's also Donna, Bill, and Jim, who are even less developed than the other 3 somehow. Bill's entire character game is that he wants to fuck Jen, who just teases him.
He cracked me up.
And he ends up the first guy dead out of the main group, and it's a terrible death too. Michael crashes through a mirror and it's just a bunch of shaky, staticky cuts of nothing, followed by a shot of a knife knife landing in Bill's head, which shouldn't have killed him anyway, since the guy thinks with his dick.
We just lost Bill's camera.
Oh, shit.
Donna is a pretentious psychology major who constantly says psychology bullshit,
I'm interested in how Michael Myers embodies the politics of violence.
which is basically a stupid person's idea of a smart person. And Jim, well, he's also just another horny guy, but he's also kind of pretentious too, so he wants to get with Donna.
When are you gonna get out of your head and start thinking with your body?
These are the characters we have to work with here, folks. It's far below the lowest standards of the Friday the 13th series somehow. It doesn't help either that part of the movie's gimmick is found footage mixed with conventional filmmaking. The camera angles built in the Myers house aren't bad, but the decision to include POV cameras could have been interesting, but the footage is just ugly, staticky, dark, and it's also clearly 4x3 footage that was stretched to a widescreen aspect ratio. This movie cost nearly 100 times more than the film it was trying to capitalize off of, Blair Witch Project, but the found footage shit somehow looks worse than that movie. It might as well not have been used. I'm hoping the terrible looking found footage is due to the technical limitations of head-mounted cameras in the early 2000s, because if they decided to make this movie look like this on purpose for stylistic reasons, shame on them, and I hope the makers of this film burn in hell.
Cameras right here. I kinda like these cameras.
Now, you'd honestly think the star of this movie would be the Myers house. This is the only Halloween film to take place almost entirely within the Myers house, so it should be amazing, but it just looks fake and generic. The Myers house used in this film was a set built on a massive soundstage with a blue screen behind it, which honestly seems like a waste of millions of dollars because the exterior of the house is barely ever shown in the movie. You can tell the Myers house is fake though. It looks like a theme park attraction where an actor dressed as Michael Myers jumps out at you. Of course, it's revealed later that the house is basically fake.
It's too easy. Why is all this stuff still here?
The Myers house was of course empty during the events of the original Halloween, so Freddy put in a bunch of fake furniture, scary props, and phony Michael Myers artifacts for the gang to dissect. But it's basically wasting our time on a bullshit, not scary, uninteresting version of an idea because the cool version can't work for continuity reasons.
Don't nobody want to see any of y'all running around on empty house, possibly coming up with nothing any damn way.
What I'm saying is, this is not just a very pointless movie, but it's also as cynical a cash grab as you can get with a horror sequel.
The furniture, the photos, all the fucked up toys, it's all fake. We've been set up.
The screenwriters of the film are literally Freddie Harris, who took this hollow concept for a film and filled it with fake shit and a bunch of boring actors.
You knew you didn't have a show anyone would watch, so you set us all up at our fucking expense, huh?
There's just nothing really to talk about story-wise, so let's just talk about Michael Myers and the rest of the kills. Well, Michael Myers in Resurrection is played by a Canadian stunt performer named Brad Lorre, and, well, there's nothing really notable about his performance as Michael. It's not really a movie where Michael can shine as an imposing figure. I guess The Mask is better than H2O's, but that's not saying anything. That's saying literally nothing. It says something though when Busta Rhymes can be a more interesting Michael Myers than the actual Michael Myers in this movie.
Why the hell you dress like me anyway? I ain't paying you to be Michael Myers. I'm playing Michael Myers.
It's impossible to take Michael Myers seriously in this film as a threat, even though he kills his arch nemesis in the first 15 minutes. In a competent writer's hands, this would leave you feeling like Michael Myers was more dangerous than he's ever been, but he really isn't.
I said, what you looking at me like that for? Huh? You don't get it? You don't get it?
He spent the last year since Laurie's death just hiding out in the sewers beneath his own house. There's nothing cool or scary about a Michael Myers that spends his life inhaling poo gas while eating rats. It's pathetic! Part of what's scary about Michael Myers is that he's a dynamic threat. He comes after you. You don't come to him like a Jason Voorhees or a Leatherface. If you ignore the family angle, Michael Myers could just be any dude who could randomly target, stalk, and kill you without you realizing it. In this movie, the characters come to Michael, having a slumber party in his house. Michael Myers doesn't have to do any real work. Would he have really just kept hanging out in the sewers this Halloween if there wasn't a reality show being shot right above him? Was he basically in retirement? Whatever the case, it's lame. At this point, Michael is just taking what he can get, killing off the stars of a Z-grade online reality show in 2002, back when videos were the size of a postage stamp. How is this movie a resurrection? This is practically like watching a funeral for the Halloween franchise. Let's talk about the rest of the kills in this movie. There are actually a lot of great murders in this film, some of the best in the franchise. I'm just kidding. One of the kills, I swear to God, one of the kills involves the guy from Save the Last Dance throwing paprika in Michael's eyes, which actually incapacitates the shape. The man has taken bullets to the eyes and took it a lot better. The guy tries to slice Michael up, but misses the shape by a lot. That third knife was for throwing paprika into Michael's eyes. You don't do that to a guy. Jim and Donna try to fuck down in the basement of a serial killer's house, which is upsettingly considered romantic by a lot of women nowadays. But the mood is ruined by a brick wall concealing a mass grave falling down on the couple. Always kills an erection, even a resurrection.
Made in fucking Taiwan.
Speaking of kill, since Jim was unsuccessful penetrating Donna, Michael decides to do the job himself. Unfortunately, Michael Myers is a one-pump chump. The only memorable murder in Halloween Resurrection is only memorable for being, well, stupid. In one swing, Michael cuts Jen's head off with a kitchen knife. There's no way this movie's wimpy Michael Myers did that. It had to have been Busta Rhymes with all those martial arts moves he watches. I kinda wonder who got to keep the Katie Sackhoff head. I think I might check eBay for it. Anyway, Jim gets killed from Michael hugging his head too hard. That guy's eye goo looks like it tastes like strawberries. Oh, yeah, and Tyra Banks got killed off screen. Wait, Tyra Banks was in this movie? Halloween Resurrection had a ton of deleted scenes that were never made available on DVD. You can find all the lost scenes in a distorted work print leaked online.
He is so dead.
Including Tyra Banks' death. It seems counterintuitive to delete any kills from a slasher movie, so I don't know why this death was cut. It doesn't seem like a cut forced by the MPAA, and it just makes it feel like Tyra Banks inexplicably disappears in the movie. Other stuff cut included additional context about what the fuck Dangertainment even is.
You're sending him out to some infamous locale.
Oh, that's right. Halloween night.
But also, there was supposed to be a prologue showing a Myers family home movie. It's not essential to the story, but it could have at least added some reminder of who Michael Myers is, and it could have given some history to the Myers house, but, you know, we needed the scene where Jen and Rudy share a bong rip. That's what Halloween fans are really interested in. The ending to this movie was also heavily altered in the reshoots, but I'll address that after chatting about the theatrical version's ending. In the theatrical version of Halloween Resurrection, Deckard only has one purpose in the film's plot once everyone but Sarah and Freddy are dead at the hands of Michael. He texts Sarah on her PDA periodically about where Michael is in the house. That's it. And the text messages gradually appear on screen to try to squeeze some semblance of suspense into this movie. Through a plot contrivance, Deckard is unable to successfully call the police to help Sarah because they think it's just a gag that's part of the reality show.
I know what 911's for, alright? This is an emergency. It's not a hoax.
So I think it's safe to say Haddonfield Police are the worst of any horror series. And that's saying something because Woodsboro made David Arquette their sheriff. What the fuck were they thinking? So anyway, after a valiant effort on Freddy's part of roundhouse kicking Michael and eventually kicking the shape so hard out a window that he ends up David Carradined, Michael still winds up OJing Freddy anyway. Oh no! Sarah ends up fleeing into Michael's sewers where she can easily be cornered, but winds up in the Dangertainment control room where she finds the hanging corpse of Tyra Banks. Wait, Tyra Banks is in this movie? When Michael enters the control room, Sarah emerges with a chainsaw, which is basically just stolen valor from Friday the 13th Part 2's Ginny. Michael brought a knife to a chainsaw fight. The sparks from the chainsaw start a fire in the control room though, and burning buildings is where Michael Myers does his best work. Oh no, he's gonna kill Sarah Moyer, my favorite Halloween protagonist. I can't bear to look. Oh shit, oh fuck yeah.
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Oh, this is so cool. Everything we had to go through with this movie has been worth it just for this moment. Oh, I think I'm gonna come.
No!
Well, so much for that, I guess. Michael Myers might be the embodiment of pure evil, but he still has testicles. Oh no, now Michael will never be able to have kids with one of his nieces in this timeline.
Burn!
This is an ending straight out of a Universal Frankenstein movie. You know, one of those shittier ones where the monster loses his testicles. And Busta Rhymes carries Sarah out of the building like he's a dad, taking his kid passed out on the couch to bed. Deckard makes one last appearance via anonymous text message as the local news closes in for an interview.
What's it feel like to be a hero, Sarah?
How is Sarah a hero? She didn't save anyone, she just didn't die. Busta Rhymes is the hero.
You wanna know how I'm feeling right now? Feel this.
Whoa, he destroyed that camera just by covering the lens. After the duo spends a little time further emasculating the Shape, whose testicles are now completely disintegrated.
Like some chicken fried, motherfucker.
Michael's corpse is taken to the nearby morgue. Jeez, Michael's face looks the way his testicles must look by now. Yeah, I'd wake up the same way after having my genitals obliterated. This was supposed to be a hook for a Halloween 9, but of course that didn't quite happen, and the world might be better off because of it. That was just one ending for Halloween Resurrection though. Before the film's reshoots, it was supposed to end another way, and a fragment of this original ending was left in the theatrical version. Before Freddy came crashing through the door, for a brief frame you can see Richard Nixon. No, actually that's Deckard. Yes, Deckard was supposed to be the surprise hero of the film, who comes to Sarah's rescue, scooping her out of the burning building. All of this can be witnessed in the film's work print.
When I said I was still in school, I meant high school.
Then at the end, like a fucking dork, Deckard explains that he's a high school kid, his real name is Miles, and the name Deckard comes from the movie Blade Runner.
Deckard's not my real name. He's the hero in Blade Runner.
Dude, you saved this chick's life. Telling her this information is not gonna help you get laid. You're really ruining it for yourself. Busta Rhymes survives, but critically wounded, apologizing profusely for his exploitative ways, and Sarah forgives him.
I'm so sorry about your friends.
Kinda sweet, in a pathetic way. The work print ends with Sarah insisting that Michael must still be alive out there.
You can't kill the boogeyman.
The original ending makes sense story-wise. It gives Deckard an actual purpose and character arc where he finally seeks Sarah out in the real world when she really needs him, telling her the truth. And Freddy was a scumbag, so it doesn't necessarily fit his character to be a selfless hero. It's clear, though, that this original ending was anticlimactic and didn't test well, and Busta Rhymes' character was obviously popular with test audiences, while Deckard is just some little dork dressed as a Scientologist, so there was likely a desire to see Freddy redeem himself in a more climactic fashion. And after all, Halloween Resurrection is a trash movie, so it needs a trash ending. You can throw the character arc bullshit out the window if you're gonna watch this movie to the end. Still, maybe they should have had both Busta Rhymes and Deckard pop up at the end to save the day, but honestly, who really gives a fuck at this point?
Trick or treat, motherfucker.
Halloween Resurrection is a terrible movie, but in some ways, it's at least an amusing artifact of the early 2000s. The film tried to mix up continuity and put the series on a new track, and it failed in that. The handling of Laurie Strode's demise is disastrous, and Michael Myers is just a complete joke at this point. Busta Rhymes is the only source of entertainment in this movie, but you shouldn't say that when you're talking about a Halloween film, and the reality is, well, most of the movie is spent on the reality stars fucking around, which is as dull as watching any actual reality show. I give Halloween Resurrection Deckard crashing through a door out of Busta Rhymes crashing through a door. Trick or treat, motherfucker. Join me next time as I revisit Rob Zombie's first outing in the Halloween series with his 2007 remake. See you there. Oh, I also have a bonus audio commentary of Halloween Kills up on my Patreon, available to download and listen to with the movie. Link in the description, pledge to patreon.com/Dr. Wolfula today to support my channel and get bonus content. This video is made possible through the pledges of my Patreon supporters, and I'd like to give a very special thanks to the kind folks pledged to my shoutouts tier. All of the support on Patreon means a lot to me, and it helps my dark influence continue to grow. If you like this video, like it, and if you loved it, click the subscribe and bell buttons for more vids. Be sure to also keep in touch by following me on social media at Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dr. Wolfula. While I still have your attention, consider pledging to my Patreon to support the channel and get bonus content like previews, VIP VIP Discord server access, private movie night streams, and credits in videos. Consider pledging at patreon.com/Dr. Wolfula. Also, check out official Dr. Wolfula t-shirts and other merch on tpublic.com/user/Dr. Wolfula. Thanks for watching. See you all next time. Dr. Wolfula signing out.